And now, Randy Tarrant of Project Happiness, whose life-changing work is formally taught in over 80 countries worldwide.
Have you ever felt your mind full of all kinds of chatter, a huge to-do list, or problems that made you feel scattered all over? Contrast that with being mindful, slowing down to pay attention to what's going on right now in this very moment. Tip for today, pause. Take 5 deep breaths. You can even breathe in imagining the word let and breathe out with the word go. Let go of stress. And remember, as you feel good, you spread that goodness to others.
This has been a Project Happiness production.
Welcome back, Trinidad and Tobago. I'm Hema Ramkissoon, and this is the Morning Brew. How are you today? And we're coming to you live from Rethink. We're on Gray Street in St. Clair. And come down and say hello. Come down, and we're sharing happiness. And what you just saw was an excerpt of an interview done with Randy Tarrant. She is the founder of the concept of this International Happiness Day. This is a UN-recognized day. I'm going to read something for you, and I have to do this. Happiness may have different meanings for different people, but we can all agree it means working to end conflict, poverty, and other unfortunate conditions in which so many of us fellow human beings live. And that's a message there from the Secretary General of the UN, Ban Ki-moon, on International Happiness Day today, 2014. That is his message. And you know, people all over the world are having meetings about what happiness really means. And joining me on set this morning, I have to say really the man and his team, the man behind the team that brought this concept and bringing it to the forefront of Trinidad and Tobago, understanding the importance of not only happiness, but having that balance. We have Ernie Ross and Corey McCullen. Good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Now, Ernie, before we start into how did you get involved in this and making everybody happy, we're at Rethink. And is this your happiness center? Explain to me the concept of Rethink.
Well, I wish I could claim to have that kind of power, but I don't. No, this is a collection of resources that have got together to create it. It's what we like to call our moments of epiphany. That point in your life where suddenly something changes your life. It could be anything. And what we have tried to do here is create the physical space that will take you to that point, to nudge you to the point in your life where you say, I think I'm seeing life differently. And there are several levels in which we do that. Mm-hmm. Right now we're in what we call the exploration room.
It's a beautiful room. When I came in, I felt happy. So I told Ernie, I understand why people come here for happiness.
Thank you. So it has been carefully thought out from the point of view of you might have noticed the aroma, the lighting. Now it's lit a little differently now because you're lighting it for the set, in order for it to be bright enough to be shown on camera. But usually there's much more subdued lighting. So we have carefully thought through all the senses that we have to stimulate in order for you to reach this point of complete stimulation, intellectually, emotionally, spiritually. And we are now connected as well to a group of global thinkers on the subject. In fact, I brought with me today a book called The Art of Thinking Clearly by Rob Zabelli.
I love the cover of that.
And some interesting stuff that I hope we can explore this morning. But before I begin with all of that, I thought we should contextualize the morning in the right manner. And I'd like to pay a tribute to the Anson McCall Group and to the Group Executive Chairman who has made all of this possible this morning. He has embraced what we have in our running as our center called the Kindness Card Program. And I wanted to start the morning off, and I'm hoping someone brings me a kindness card so that I can explain that concept to you. Essentially, what it is I carry out an act of kindness for you. I give you a kindness card, and on the usual pay-it-forward system, once I carry out that act of kindness to you, you have not an obligation, but hopefully you'll be inspired to pass that act of kindness on with this card. So I give you whatever act of kindness it could be. It could be a hug, it could be, which is easy to do with Hema. It could be a kind word, it could be anything. Once I give you that act of kindness and I give you the card, it clearly says in it, you're the recipient of a random act of kindness. Now, you're required to pass it on.
So you're going to give me my kindness card?
I give you your kindness card.
And this is my kindness on credit or kindness on debit? How does it work?
Well, in kindness, we only look at deposits. We don't look, there are very few withdrawals at the Happiness Bank. But the point is that we give you this card. At the back of it says, now it's your turn to pass on a random act of kindness to someone else. Each card has an assigned number. So when you go onto our website, we have the software that will track where this card is going. So if I give you this card and you pass it on to someone in your set, and they pass it on to someone on the street, who may pass it on to someone who boards a Caribbean Airlines flight, you don't know how far this card can go. We've tracked cards going internationally. In fact, we've actually approached Caribbean Airlines, and they have accepted the concept of even using this on their aircraft.
Really?
So it's going to go even further. And we had your group chairman, Norman Sadger, accept the concept as well. And today, as we speak, on the International Day of Happiness, throughout the Anzimakal group, thousands of these cards are going out. So it's phenomenal in terms of what it creates. You can go to a bar, Hema, and turn to the server and say, I want to change the mood, alter the mind shift here by one act of kindness. And you drop, that's why you'll notice it has a heart forming a ripple.
Oh, I love the design of it, though. I was supposed to tell you that.
So the ripple will be the one act that you can create to change an entire environment. So you can go to a bar, tell the server, I just want you to take a drink to that table, and explain this concept to them, and he does that, and you look at it going throughout that whole environment. Imagine what you can do in a country where you get more and more people involved in just one random act of kindness.
How did you get involved with this program? And I have to ask you, Mr. Ross, because of the fact that we're inundated with bad news. The media has received a tongue lashing from not only religious leaders, from politicians, from NGOs, civil society groups, because they say that we just promote a culture of cynicism, of sarcasm, of just generally being unhappy. And you're there trying to tell people, let's take a deep breath and be happy. How did you, let's start with your personal journey. How did you get involved in this?
Okay. Well, again, I wish I can claim to be this person that is doing this. This is part of a huge global movement that I happen to tap into. The state of Bhutan actually measures its development not by the gross domestic product, but by gross national happiness, the GNH. They measure by how happy their people are. That has been lauded by the United Nations. So the GNH is what they measure the development by, how happy people are. The United Nations has accepted this. This is why there's the International Day of Happiness today. Belgium has accepted this. They've got a Ministry of Happiness. Heaven knows we probably have that on Monday and Tuesday at Carnival, but there's a Ministry of Happiness there, and there's a Chief Happiness Officer, which is a very familiar title now in the corporate environment. You've got it at IBM, you've got it at Google, Disney has adopted the program, Virgin through Branson. So the concept of creating employees that are live more meaningful, purposeful lives. So you just don't do it for the bottom line, where training and workshops used to be about how do I get this
how do I get my employees to sell more, to buy more,
to be just more efficient? How do I get them to be more mindful, to live a more purposeful life so that they can perform better at the end in all areas of their life?
You're shifting corporate culture, and I do have to ask about this. A Chief Happiness Officer, and I remember the first time we had this conversation, I couldn't stop laughing because, you know, I'm finishing my MBA, and I said to you, I was like, Ernie, I've never heard that in any of my textbooks, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
How are you going to shift corporate culture where our management is just so driven by the concept of work hard, pay as little as I can, and you try to get maximum returns with very little investment?
Oh, there you go. You've got the group chairman at Anzimakal embracing the program and recognizing the need for mindful living. We can't live in a society where you're doing well, but there are all these social issues around and figure you can ignore them. They'll eventually capture you. You read the headline today, which was quite depressing. But there is, within that, there is an element of truth in how you can change that perception. Let's give you one here as a rethink moment, because I don't want you to get the impression this is all about some hairy-fairy philosophy.
Yeah, because I'm going to ask, people are looking at this, going to think, oh, it's fluff humor. Really, there's serious issues. How are we going to use happiness to shift this culture?
Well, it's all very, very, very measurable and very tangible. There are all kinds of organizations, by the way, that are doing change management through the means of happiness. All of them. From Disney, come right back. There's Project Happiness, there's Delivering Happiness, and these are set up by very hard-nosed businessmen who look at the bottom line. Tony Shea is an example who is open Delivering Happiness, who our agency has used. Talks about the bottom line. I think the title of the book is called delivering happiness, product, and positivity and purpose. But he talks about how the productivity levels and the profit margins are affected by a workforce that is just more mindful and certainly more committed to living a happier life. But just to give you a point of what a rethink moment could be like.
You're putting me on the spot. Let's go.
This is an example of it. If, and there's a World Cup football coming on, so I'll use this particular analogy. And this is coming from the book, The Art of Thinking Clearly. 1/3 of the time in a penalty shootout, the goalie will have to receive the ball. The striker is going to hit 1/3 of the time to the left, 1/3 of the time to the right, and 1/3 of the time the ball is going to come straight to the goalkeeper. What does the goalkeeper do? Most of the time, he will either go to the left.
Go to the left or go to the right.
I don't know how many times you just say goalkeeper just not moving at all. And the reason for that is because he doesn't want to look silly. He doesn't want to be moving, not moving at all, and the ball moves to the left or right. Yet 1/3 of the time, the ball is going to come directly to him. So if he stood in the stationary position, the ball would come to him. This is absolutely researched, not my thinking.
Standing still, and we do have a segment a little later about centering. And throughout the day, we not only have tips from Randy Taran, one of the founders of this marvelous event, but we have a number of life coaches, a number of officials who really tell you about being happy. Now, Corey, I want to ask about what is the most common question that you get asked? Maybe one of for the naysayers and the non-believers. What's the one thing they have a very difficult time buying into?
I think it's as you were saying, why happiness? We're corporate culture is about the bottom line. The whole world is about measuring economic development. But what we find is that your personal and your professional are one and the same. So if you're unhappy, you're going to carry that over to work. And if you have an unhappy work environment, there's less productivity. So the whole entire economy isn't as productive as it could be. So if you develop a positive culture and one that people really believe in, then you find you have less sick days. You have more productivity, more creativity, more innovation, and profit margins go up. If you compare Fortune 500 companies and you look at ones that have a really strong corporate culture versus those that don't, you can actually visibly see the increase in profit margins.
I have to ask you this before we return to the concepts of forgiveness and happiness. What is happiness to you?
I can tell you what happiness means to me, but I think what you're looking for is a definition from everyone to use, and happiness is what gives you joy. That's my simplistic definition. I've read tons of books on the subject, and there are authors over time. In fact, you'll find there are more people entering that course at Harvard than any other course on the planet.
There's a happiness course
at Harvard.
It is the one common pursuit of man. There's one thing you and I can agree on beyond any differences that we will have, and that is we seek to be happy.
It is the ultimate human goal.
How we go about doing that may vary, some in very bad ways. But the point is that we can agree that that's what we want. We're doing whatever activity we're conducting to be happy. What we hope to do here is nudge you to that point, to that moment where you get it.
Now, looking at nudging to the point where you get it, Corey, what's happiness to you? And then if we look at people say happiness, so employees, we're linking this to not only personal but professional. Employees are going to say they get happy with more money. They get happy with more free time. I get happy when my boss doesn't come around too long. No offense there. What are you really, how does it work?
Happiness, a lot of people think it is about money, but at the end of the day, it's about meaning. So finding that meaning in your life, and sometimes you may not get extra money, but you may get that recognition you've been looking for, which is more motivating than money. And to me, it's finding what makes you happy, as Mr. Ross said, the joy in life, the contentment in life, and just the mental well-being to make you have these positive feelings.
Now, I know that you have some notes there, so I actually looked down. Forgiveness is physical, and generosity increases happiness. So I don't think people, and I know when we began the program, they say you can only get happiness by giving happiness. So let's explain this. How does forgiving become physical? How does generosity become beneficial to me?
Well, first of all, before Corey, who's much versed in this than I am, I just want to pay tribute to where the thinking is coming from, because I certainly don't want you to think it's coming from myself or Corey or from We Think alone. These principles are actually coming out from an organization we represent called Project Happiness by Randy Taran.
Right.
Some of the clips that you were using. And Randy actually teaches happiness and emotional resilience to children for free in over 80 countries around the world as a formal part of the school curriculum. That's how much they have recognized that it is required. So those principles are coming from her thinking. And actually, I shouldn't even say it's coming from Randy. It's coming from Randy's research on the finest minds in the world on neuroscience and happiness. Because happiness is a science. It's not just hairy-fairy philosophical thinking. It has very real, measurable means. So she's come up with 9 principles that she's found guiding that, some of which we have prepared to play on your show this morning. And I just want to come in to pay tribute to Randy. She's a phenomenal lady. None of this she does for any money. We've launched Project Happiness in Trinidad and Tobago in November, I think it was last year, to 700 educators. We've been trying a pilot program in some of the schools, and there's absolutely no cost to any of it at all. So I just wanted to pay tribute to that. But yeah, she has researched it and come up with a number of principles. Now let's take the one that you use as an example. Forgiveness. How in heaven's name could you ever say that you're happy if you haven't forgiven either yourself or someone else? It would be emotionally impossible, intellectually impossible. And that has a huge effect on you physically. So forgiveness is a huge part of happiness. Gratitude, living with an attitude of gratitude, knowing at the end of the day or the start of the day all the things that you have to be happy for. If I denied you breath right now, or if I denied you sight right now, if I denied you touch, if I denied you hearing, if I denied you any of the senses, you would suddenly have an appreciation for it more than you ever did before. But you don't live with that attitude of gratitude for it because you just take it for granted. But there's so many other things in your life.
Happiness is contagious. That's the one also jumped out.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm sure playing the babies laughing a while would have everyone laughing.
It was. A lot of people actually sent me messages saying, oh, that's good. I like that.
Yeah. I'll tell you, I'm not flattering you here, but a lot of people say they look at your show because they love your smile. Your smile is contagious, you know?
I like that.
Yeah, and it's true. If you live in a happy moment, and people just pick that up from around you, as much as they pick up the negative, because you can have negative reinforcements or you can have a positive reinforcement. It just depends on how you look at it. Do you go left or right, or do you just stand still?
Do you go left or right or stand still? The analogy used there for the goalpost of the World Cup is coming up. Corey, your closing comments, Trinidad and Tobago. We are wrapping this segment of the interview. We're here at Rethink. This is really a transformation center. What would you like Trinidad and Tobago to know?
Well, happiness does take mindfulness and attention, and so we have these services that we are offering, including life coaching, nutrition coaching, centering sessions. And so if you want to explore and find a deeper level of happiness within your own life or your organization, we have services available that you can access. So you can give us a call and set up an appointment, and we'll find ways to help you be happier.
Rainey, you have the final word for this segment. What would you like Trinidad and Tobago to know? Today is International Happiness Day. It's about sharing. You just gave me my kindness card, and Ernie did give me my cup of coffee this morning, so that was his random act of kindness because he made the coffee for me. What would you like Trinidad and Tobago to know?
Well, I think that the power of an individual difference, either that you can carry that torch, that you can pass it on. By one simple act of kindness, you can begin to make that change, not only for the world around you, but within yourself. There you will find your moment of epiphany. That's when you begin to understand, I can do it. I can make the change.
It's your aha moments, your moments that you realize that you can make that change. And you know, so often here in the Morning Brew, things are just about all the negativity. And this morning we have shifted our program because there's so much to be happy about. Maybe sometimes you just have to stay still and remember that you should be happy. At this time, we take a very short break, and we're also going to share with you some shots outside. Come down to Rethink. We're on Gray Street in St. Clair. There you see the shots. The place is decorated, beautiful balloons, beautiful scenery, and they will be giving away breakfast as well here. So come out, come down. We're sharing our happiness. We're going to give you a smile, and that is the random act of kindness. And we definitely would like to say hello to you and ensure that we give you some smiles. Remember, smiling and happiness is contagious. You have to share it with us as well. Stay with us.